Today I woke up on Mr. Beast's 35-foot tall inflatable minion that I tried blowing up the night before with my lungs, but my asthma kicked in and I passed out. But anyways, last week he was like,
"Hey Ben, can you make me the world's largest minion?"
But I hung up on him because he's not despicable enough. He's like the opposite. He's like philanthropicable. But he called back and I was like, he really is despicable. And I agreed to do it, and ever since then I have been making sure this minion is perfect. So I got the whole factory to line up and take turns blowing it up so I wouldn't be the only one passing out. And I tried to fashion together a giant suit to fit him, but I ran out of fabric and... But finally he was ready. The only problem was when I opened my trunk and tried to fit his body in it, which usually it can fit a few of those, he didn't fit. So I had to ship him in a truck, but I wanted to be along for the journey, so I snuck in while the back door was open and rode in that boy across America until we finally stopped, and I opened the door and... Hey.
Hey.
I got your minion.
Just put it over there.
Okay. Last weekend, me and some pals and Mr. Beast gathered around to sacrifice a giant minion for fun. But after we killed it to death, I was like, now what? And Mr. Beast said,
"Dave is finally dead. So is this stupid trend."
But I thought to myself, that's kind of awkward, because to me it wasn't a trend, and I got a giant minion tramp stamp tattoo a few days before. And I was so embarrassed that I got in my car and drove around looking for a laser tattoo removal place, but the only one that I could find in my town went out of business when they accidentally cut someone's leg off. And it also looks like the back room, so I ordered a tattoo laser gun off of Shein. And when it arrived a week later, I got ready to use it after accidentally burning a hole in my eyeball, but I reached behind me and started burning it off, and it smelled like burnt chicken for about an hour, but I thought it was essentially gone. Until I was at Walmart a week later when I saw this lady drop her toe fungus medication, and when I bent down to pick it up for her, the scar popped out and she screamed and thought I had monkeypox, and I was like, shut the hell up, warty ass bitch. Let's see those toes you need to scream for. Today I spent 9 hours painting Doja Cat, and it turned out so good that I decided to DM it to her. And she actually replied by saying, it's terrific. And I was just in disbelief that she replied, so I screenshotted it as fast as I could and posted it on my story to show all my friends. But after she saw it, she DM'd me a picture of the front of my house and my birth certificate. And when I said, yes it is Doja Cat, I saw she mentioned me in her story, and when I looked, she had posted both of those images on her story, and I was like, Doja, why would you do that? And then she went live and was very angry at me, and the next thing I knew, there were people banging on my front door, and then one of them threw something through my window, and I had no clue what it is, so I slowly approached it. But when I got too close, it started to fill my room with gas, and I heard on her live stream, and she said,
"Careful of the tear gas, beep, you're getting gas, beep."
So I grabbed what I could and ran out of my house and saw a flyer on the telephone pole for witness protection, and I called them and had to throw away my passport and credit cards, and now I'm flying to New Zealand to start a new life. Thanks, Doja Cat. Today I was flying over North Korea and trying to sleep even though there was a baby screaming behind me because it shat itself. But what really kept me awake was a song started playing that plays in like all those plane crash TikToks. And then the plane started shaking and the seatbelt sign turned off. And the plane was shaking so much that it spilled water all over my no-no square. And I thought, if this plane is going down, I'm not about to be found dead looking like I peed myself. So I snuck into the bathroom even though it said seatbelts on. And I grabbed some paper towel and tried to dry it off. But it was shaking so much that I just went back to my seat. And that's when I realized the music was coming from the stupid baby behind me's iPad, because it knocked its AirPods off from sharding so aggressively. So I tried to lean between the seats to turn it off, but I couldn't reach it, so I called over the flight attendant and asked if we could just throw the child out of the airlock, but she didn't speak English and just gave me almonds. So I peacefully lost my mind for 7 hours, and when I landed I saw the most nasty little sharder and chased after it because it left its iPad behind, but when I touched it there was literal baby food on it, and I dropped it and cracked the screen. And then I picked it up again to check if it was working and saw the lock screen, and it jump scared me and I dropped it again. Whoops! I was scrolling through Tinder because the last person I met was when I was at the Apple store and came across some girl's number that she left on an iPad. So I took it and went home and tried texting it and just said hi, and then she replied asking if she could come over for some eggplant. And I panicked because I've never cooked eggplant before. But I remembered I could make eggplant parmesan, so I was looking for recipes on Google when I realized I accidentally typed in eggplant permission. Anyways, she said she was 30 minutes away, and I ended up running to the grocery store to buy some eggplant. So I grabbed some eggplants, and then I needed the parmesan. So I went up to this giant wheel of parmesan they had, but I couldn't lift it, so I just got a little piece. Anyways, I went home and chopped up the eggplant and dropped some on the ground, but I used the 5-minute rule because I'm half white. And I put it in the pan, and then I added some cheese and was gonna bake it when I found a spider in my oven. So I baked that instead until he was nice and crispy, and then I threw the eggplant in, and it was finally ready. So I sent her a picture of the eggplant parmesan and said, "You ready for this eggplant?" But then all of a sudden my texts to her were green, and I heard tires screeching outside. Anyways, now I'm back on Tinder, so if anyone wants a serving of eggplant parmesan, make sure you match with me. Today I texted my crush that I love her and want a relationship, and I felt like throwing up until she replied with, "I'm in Lisbon." And then she sent the, Portuguese flag, I think. I don't know, I'm not good at geometry. But anyways, I wanted to surprise her, so I booked the next ticket to Lisbon, Portugal. So I packed up my stuff and went to the airport, and it was a 30-hour journey, but it was in the name of love. And when I landed, I realized I should probably get her something as a gift, so I walked into a store and came across these very interesting frozen feet in the freezer section, and I thought, who would want to suck on feet? Oh, me. So I bought them, and opened up the box and ate every last foot. And they tasted like strawberries. I don't know why I was expecting foot flavor. Not that that's what I wanted. But anyways, I got the bright idea to take all the popsicle sticks and make a little fun DIY bracelet out of them with hearts on it. So I did just that, and then the next day, I was gonna give my crush the bracelet. So I went to DM her and asked her to meet up and realized she said I'm a lesbian. I'm a lesbian. I was scrolling through the deep web when I saw an ad for a GoFundMe to get the Queen an air fryer before she dies. So I went to it and saw no one had donated. So I gave her $5 and went to bed. But when I woke up the next morning, I got an email that it was shut down by GoFundMe. And I knew the Queen still needs an air fryer, so I packed my bags and went to the airport to book the next flight to London to bring her an air fryer that I bought for her. And after 10 hours, I landed and Ben was in the Big Ben. So I took the train to the Buckingham Palace. Today I went to go see Billie Eilish at Coachella, but before she came on, there was this dude wearing a big sparkly onesie who opened for her that kept staring at me, and I was thinking to myself, what's up, do you have a staring problem, buddy? But anyways, he did a little dancey dance thing, and Shrek was in the audience and seemed... his camera and it turned off the video on the screen. But anyways, then Billie Eilish came on and kept invading my personal space and staring at me, and I was like, dude, celebrities never get taught that staring is rude? Why are you yelling at me? But then she did her little dancey dance and left the stage, and I took a golf cart home from Coachella, and when I woke up the next morning, I checked my phone to see a DM from Billie herself asking if I was at her show with a winky face. And I replied, no, silly Billie, here's a restraining order, leave me alone. And I went back to bed. Today, my Mima told me that she bought an NFT, and I was like, Mima, you just asked me if Mark Zuckerberg was my girlfriend. How do you know what an NFT is? So anyways, I was using one of those head massagers when I got a knock at the door, and when I answered, no one was there except for a box with a towel in it and some noodles, with a note that said, NFT, noodly fun towel. And it wasn't even fun, it was soaking wet in some mysterious liquid, and I was about to put it away in my closet when I got the idea that I could actually and we can play bingo together on Bubble House with my Mima and her bingo group. Every day I bike past this fenced-off neighborhood near me that's radioactive from a nuclear meltdown. But today I decided to explore it, so I went through a gap in the fence, and after walking for about 10 minutes, I got to this mysterious door in the middle of nowhere, so I did a little knock and let myself in and closed it behind me to be polite to the radiation. Anyways, I went down the stairs and saw, some interesting artifacts that I was not exactly a fan of. And I continued through the bunker and found a very inviting door that made me feel super safe, which led to more stairs that had my knees cracking like Rice Krispies. Anyways, I eventually got to this tunnel and some doors at the end of it that said, danger, do not enter. But I went in because my middle name is Danger. Just kidding, it's Emil. And after I went through the door, it closed behind me and I tried everything but couldn't open it up because it was locked. So I decided to look around and see what my grave location was gonna look like, thinking maybe it's a movie theater or a game room. And I turned the lights on to see that there was an actual nuclear missile silo where they held the nukes. And it went 100 feet down, and now this is where I live, I guess. And my phone is now on 1% uploading this TikTok. So if you see this, that's the last time you're gonna... Today I DoorDashed some cooked goldfish from PetSmart because I was really hungry and they were only $3. So I placed the order and walked over to PetSmart to pick it up. But when I got there, I walked in and found the food pickup section and saw all the soon-to-be sushi swimming around in their little tanks that were right next to the not-so-swimming sushi. And that's when I realized maybe pet store food isn't the best move. But I was still super hungry, so I asked an employee if they have anything else to eat, but she told me if I want to act picky, they have rats for sale. So I opened up the rat fridge and I couldn't do it. So I ended up buying some bugs for like $2, which was such a great and amazing deal. And when I got home, I was so hungry that I ripped open the bag of bugs and just told myself that this little grasshopper in my chopsticks is a Cheeto. So I popped it in my mouth and I felt movement. And I spat it out and it jumped out of the bowl! And I panicked and ran to the toilet, and for the next 3 hours I vomited up my insides. 10 minutes, I got really bored of harvesting wheat and apples and wanted to watch a good old YouTube video. But I didn't have any devices to watch YouTube on, so I obviously walked over to the YouTube headquarters. And when I got there, I managed to walk right in and I found an empty room with a TV in it so I could watch a few videos from my personal collection. Anyways, after I had cured my boredom, I left the room and raided the YouTube fruit counter and grabbed an orange and an apple and a DVD copy of the videos I watched. But when I finally got home, I realized I can't play this because I don't have a record player. But I looked around my room and saw an old radio speaker thing and popped the CD in it just so I could listen to the audio and imagine the video in my mind. But when it started playing, it sounded like it was coming from outside my house, and that's when I realized I had it set to broadcast. And I ran outside to see every radio in the vicinity was playing.